Not really. Not really, no.
It can sometimes...
What the hell is this? AI generates
work pretty well for video game
Dark
characters,
Souls.
and I haven't seen anyone take a crack at the cast of Dark Souls yet, so let's give it a go. Quick disclaimer, this AI is pretty narrow in that it needs something that looks a lot like a human face in the first place. So I know some of you would love to see some of the weirder creatures go through this process, and I do have a few examples that will push the system to its limits, but you're not going to see what happens to non-humanoid or masked characters. For our first reveal here, let's take a look at Patches. Okay, so this might look a little uncanny to some viewers, but that's not bad. His face became a lot pointier by the time you get to Dark Souls 3, so if you're coming from that game, this might not feel like the Patches you know, but I think it's a pretty good representation of Dark Souls 1 Patches.
Okay. Alright.
This is what I do, my friend.
The Crestfallen Warrior also gets a pretty solid conversion.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival.
Let's see how Dusk handles. I purposefully left the Crown of Dusk equipped, hoping it'd give her some really screwed up hair. But the AI saw right through my ruse and just got rid of it. I'm getting a bit of a Winona Ryder vibe here.
Seems that my time is done. May the great flames guide thee.
But on the subject of the AI not knowing what to do with the headpiece, here's the axe-wielding Forest Hunter. The face came out pretty excellent, but that hair is something else. Let's take a look at a couple more of the Forest Hunters. I don't know why I was expecting someone looking like Bjork coming out the other side, but I think the software came up with a more appropriate interpretation. And here's this guy. I don't have anything to say. I don't think anyone cares about this guy. Back to some named characters. Here's Petrus. I don't know what I was expecting. I'm getting some Anton Chigurh vibes, which I guess is appropriate for this monster.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
And Rhea. This pompous jerk trash talks our appearance, so I appreciate the AI downgrading the quality of her clothes.
Or are you so uncouth as to lack such judgment?
For Griggs, I was kind of expecting a Jesse Eisenberg, but that's not quite what we got.
I regret meeting you under such compromising circumstances. At least we both made it back unscathed.
Now, there's a lot of NPCs whose faces we can't see too clearly, or even at all, but there's nothing stopping us from using debug to spawn in as them and simply taking their helmets off. So here's a closer look at Big Hat Logan. And, yeah.
I will return to fire.
Bro, you know who it is? She looks like... Oh, sorry, he? Okay. He looks like the Game of Thrones Reek's sister or cousin. I don't remember which one. I think cousin. The one with the islands, Iron Islands or something. You don't see it? Yara? Is that her name? I don't know.
Darling Shrine, speak with me there, so that I may impart my sorcery.
We'll also remove the hood from Laertius to reveal his hair, and here we go. I'd like to imagine this is the look on his face after you refuse to tell him where you got your pyromancies from.
You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
I see. I suppose I was mistaken. In any case, I definitely trust you.
And here's Quelana. I don't know what I was expecting under the hood, but the realistic version is pretty cool.
I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh.
For Witch Beatrice, I don't really have anything to say. It's another reasonable interpretation based on the source. Though the AI seems a little inclined to maybe round out the chin a bit more than it should on some of these characters.
I remember that.
We can also take a look at Unmasked Oswald, and... dear God.
It is only human to commit a sin.
I'm not going to go through every character that has a helmet. mostly because I think viewers don't have any expectations for them to begin with, but nonetheless, here's a handful more. It turns out the Crystal Knight is pretty handsome under there. The same goes for the Crestfallen Merchant from Sense Fortress. He has cut content that reveals he's supposed to be on the verge of hollowing, but you wouldn't know it here.
Don't even consider
Why do they even have faces under the masks if you can never
Here's
take them
Siegmeyer.
off in the actual
He's
game?
just as jovial as you'd expect.
So here I sit, in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak.
And let's talk about Solaire. He's a good friend, but he's really dumb. But his himbo status is about to get cemented. Here he is without his helmet, and here's his real-life version.
If I didn't know better, I'd think you had feelings for me. Oh no, dear me, pretend you didn't hear that.
So it's no surprise that the AI does an okay job for most NPCs like this, since they're all constrained to being built like the player character and have to have these human features. But there are also some unique enemy and character models that show their face as well. Starting with Guinevere, I think we'll get better results if we get her to open her eyes first. They normally stay closed by default, and there are some unused talking animations we could trigger, but it's easier to just force a T-pose. Much better. And we're off to a good start here.
Hello.
What brings you in today? Christian, was it?
Sebastian.
I am sorry my memory is not what it used to be. Hold on. Hello. Dumb prank call.
Should have watched your back.
I don't know, is that a cow? Is it a fucking space alert shit? Siren? I don't know. Guggenheim, thank you for tier 3, 51 months. Get your best hands up.
Chosen undead, I am Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and Queen of Sunlight.
Here is Quelaag. It kind of works.
Welcome, bringer of meat. The children of chaos are hungry.
And her sister gets a pretty decent treatment as well. I mean, she's supposed to look sickly, so that works for me.
Quelaag, my dear sister, the eggs, it hurts. They've gone still.
But things are going to start going downhill from here. It's kind of hard to complain about Priscilla's output because it doesn't know how to retain her non-human features in the first place. So yeah, it's not great, but what can you expect?
This land is peaceful. Its inhabitants kind. This land is peaceful. Its inhabitants kind. This land is peaceful. Its inhabitants kind. This land is peaceful. Its inhabitants kind.
Kieran actually is built like the player character, so you can take her helmet off no problem. But I didn't mention it earlier because they never customized her look. These are the character creation sliders at default, essentially. And without further guidance, the AI assumes a more masculine appearance. Okay, so I've got just 5 more, but they might qualify as nightmare fuel. So consider this your warning. Andre of Astora. To be fair, he already looks pretty rough if you look carefully at his model, but just playing normally in-game doesn't usually give you a clear look, and his jovial disposition probably has you picturing something more favorable for him. But the AI turns him into Willem Dafoe on bath salts.
Why'd you spill your beans, Tommy?
Then we have the Egg Burdened, found around Quelaag's domain. So the good news here is that the nightmare fuel comes primarily from the original model. They're going to get a...
Fucking cocksuck. I'm Disco Dancer. Thank you for the 5,000 bitcoins in the current year. That's it's quite the penny. Thank you, man. Shamrock 1000. Shamrock 1000. Repeating, of course, about 5 times, of course. Thank you, man.
Bit of a glow up here. I mean, this is just awful. It was hard to get a good angle from the original position, so I forced the T-pose and went from there. Now, I didn't say it was going to be great, but I don't miss those crusty eyes.
That's pretty
Marvelous
good,
Chester
honestly.
was interesting to experiment with. You can't remove their helmet because they're a unique enemy model and there's nothing behind the mask. But I figured the mask itself has some human features, so why not give it a try? But without seeing enough of the upper portion of his face, I couldn't get it to work. But then I remembered there's an unused prototype version of Chester with the hat removed. And this one has some cool extra details that the final Chester doesn't have underneath the hat.
Attention.
Like this
Group
one red color.
masturbation starts in 5 minutes.
No, it doesn't.
Eye. The AI felt comfortable enough working with that, and gave us this.
We are both strangers in this strange land, but at
Take
least
your
now there
joy,
are
bros.
2 of us.
I couldn't get the AI to recognize the ghosts of New Londo ruins, but then I remembered to check the baby the female ghost is carrying. If you haven't seen it
Wait,
before,
what?
yes, there's a baby there. It's what shoots lightning at you.
Oh, really?
And okay, I guess. Lastly, we have the regular Hollow. For this, the AI thought it was most appropriate to merge Billy Bob Thornton with Richard D. James.
Is that one of the guys who plays the Game of Thrones Cuck Lord to Mother of Dragons? I forget his name. The guy who's the cuck. The cuck to Sir Jorah. Yeah, look, it's him. yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or supporting me on Patreon. I normally make videos that do deep dives into the mechanics and design of the Souls games.
Is this the same guy who takes off the... or who goes out of body in Outlast, or was that another channel? That was probably another channel, actually. This one was AI focused. Red Devo, thank you for the 3 years, dude. Boop! Enjoy the badge. Batesky, welcome. Montoyozo, welcome. And a based spoiler guy with the 1 year. Pew! Cage Ball with the 6 years. Minus 300. Lol E. Spartans! What is your profession?